Caitríona Balfe, the woman who carried time. When Outlander first graced the screen, few could have predicted the legacy it would leave, not merely as a sweeping historical romance, but as a story that transcended centuries both on and off screen. At its core stood Caitríona Balfe, the Irish actress whose portrayal of Claire Fraser became more than a role. It became a confession, a journey, and a quiet rebellion against time itself. The lights may soon dim on Fraser's Ridge, yet the warmth she breathed into that world, and into millions of hearts, refuses to fade. A decade that changed everything. For nearly 10 years, Outlander was more than a series, it was a shared heartbeat between its cast, crew, and devoted fans. From the wild Scottish moors to long, rain-soaked nights on set, Caitríona Balfe and Sam Heughan lived a story that blurred the lines between fiction and truth. There were moments when no one could tell where Claire ended and Caitríona began. One crew member once whispered, she wasn't acting, she was remembering something all of us had lost. Balfe entered Outlander as a newcomer to television, a former model with a quiet strength and eyes that seemed to hold centuries. By the final season, she had become a Golden Globe nominee, a producer, and the emotional compass of one of television's most ambitious sagas. But for her, it was never about fame. It was always about connection, she once said softly. About love, and how it survives time. Behind the curtain of history, Outlander's magic wasn't woven from castles or costumes, but from the invisible thread between Caitríona and Sam. Their chemistry, raw, respectful, deeply human, anchored a world millions came to believe in. Behind the cameras were sleepless nights, missed holidays, laughter between takes, and the kind of exhaustion born only from passion. Sam and I have shared nearly a decade of our lives, Balfe said. He's been my partner through every storm, on and off screen. And yet, despite the intimacy of their fictional marriage, they both carried their own private lives with grace, choosing dignity over spectacle. In a world hungry for gossip, they offered something rare, quiet respect and timeless friendship. Every generation has a story that defines it. For millions, Outlander was that story, a refuge disguised as fantasy. Balfe's Claire reminded the world that compassion and courage never age. She was a healer, a fighter, a lover, and a woman who never apologized for her strength. One fan at the farewell event said through tears, "She showed us it's okay to be brave and broken at once. She made us believe that love survives everything, even time." A gentle goodbye. As the final season unfolded, it felt less like an ending and more like a homecoming. The laughter was deeper, the silences heavier, the moments slower. Between takes, Caitríona would pause in the middle of the set, fingers brushing the wooden beams of Fraser's Ridge, as if saying goodbye to an old friend. "Outlander was my university," she said wistfully. "It taught me everything. About acting, about patience, about love." At the final table read, laughter mixed with tears. Sam squeezed her hand and whispered, "We did it, Sassenach." And for that brief moment, it wasn't Jamie and Claire. It was Sam and Caitríona, two souls who had shared something unrepeatable, beyond the Highlands. Life after Outlander. For Caitríona Balfe, this isn't an ending, it's a continuation. Her powerful turn in Belfast and her quiet activism for equality and mental health reveal an artist still evolving. Yet no matter where she goes, part of her will always belong to the Scottish mist, to the echo of bagpipes and the ghost of a man calling her name across time. Because love stories like this never truly end. They only change shape. The heart of a time traveler. As Caitríona Balfe looks back on this decade-long journey, she does so not with sorrow, but with gratitude. "It's been a gift," she said once. "We all travel through time, through memories, choices, and the people we love. When the final episode fades to black, the world will remember her not just as Claire Fraser, but as the woman who carried time with grace, fire, and an unshakable heart." And somewhere, in a quiet corner of the Highlands, the wind will whisper her story again. Once upon a time, there was a woman who healed the world, 1 century at a time. Written in tribute to Caitríona Balfe and the legacy of Outlander, a story that reminded us all that love is the only thing that truly transcends time. Because there's something about Outlander that refuses to say goodbye. Even after the final credits roll, its heartbeat lingers, in letters from fans across oceans, in rewatched episodes late at night, in those moments when love feels infinite again. For Caitríona Balfe, that heartbeat will never fade. New stories await, new characters, new worlds, but somewhere in her heart, a single thread of tartan remains, tying her forever to the Highlands and to a family time could never undo. Maybe stories like this never end, she once mused between takes. Maybe they just find new ways to be told. Perhaps that's the true legacy of Outlander, not a farewell, but an invitation. An invitation to believe again. That love can travel through time. That somewhere, somehow, Jamie and Claire are still walking hand in hand through the mists of Scotland, where every sunrise feels like a beginning. Because some goodbyes aren't endings. They're promises, that the story will live on in every heart that once believed. And yet, perhaps the story isn't finished, not really. Because time, as Outlander taught us, never moves in a straight line. It bends and circles, weaving people back into each other's lives in ways they never expect. Maybe somewhere, on another set or under a gentler light, Caitríona Balfe and Sam Heughan will find themselves standing together again, two souls who once loved across centuries, now meeting in another story, another lifetime. The world will keep turning, new tales will be told, and fresh faces will step into the glow of fame. But the echoes of Outlander, the laughter, the tears, the quiet devotion, will remain, like a melody you can't quite forget. And when the mist rolls over the Highlands again, perhaps someone will pause, look to the horizon, and feel it, that pulse of something eternal, something that refuses to fade. Because some stories don't end where the camera cuts. They live on, in memory, in spirit, and in the hearts of those who still believe that love, somehow, always finds its way back through time.